welcome here to an all-new edition of Pirates on Call. You know, the ECU Pirates here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And of course, I am picture in picture with the head coach of the ECU Pirates football program, and that being Mike Houston. Mike, how are you?
Doing good. Hope you guys are.
And Mike, I know that you and I have spoken throughout this season, going into this season, and we've seen your team start out with a 2-0 run and then dropped two in a row to Appalachian State and at Liberty. Then came back in the Paint It Gold game to defeat UTSA before falling most recently to Charlotte on the road. So just bring me into, I mean, at 3-3, how you assess what's kind of gone on this season.
Well, kind of up and down. It's we've done a lot of good things. We lost two really close contests against App and Liberty. Once we felt like we had, great opportunities to win and, just didn't do the things late in the game that you got to do to win a game like that against good competition. And then, just had an off day down in Charlotte. Sandwiched between there is, a really good home win against UTSA, a really solid road win against ODU, and then win against an FCS opponent that we should win. So you're sitting there 3-3, 1-1 in the conference, halfway point. Got the bye week. Thought it'd come at a good time to get our guys rested up and kind of refocus on some things we needed to do better as we get ready to start the stretch run, and then get ready for the next six games. Starting with one against an extremely talented team and Army that's playing at a very, very high level.
And you spoke about the bye week and the timing of the bye week, and I think it's easy to say with any program when you have a bye week, you have an opportunity to get healthy, you have an opportunity to
Yep.
rest up. But what are those other things? Like with this program specifically, at this point in the season, 6 games in with 6 games to go in the regular season, I mean, it's literally the midway point for East
Right.
Carolina. So the timing of it for you, beyond just, resting up and the health of things, what are you looking for in this bye week?
Well, the big thing we worked on is different from whichever phase you're talking about. With us offensively, we have not hit our groove yet. And
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way to say it. We've shown some flashes, but we haven't had a game where we just said, okay, it really clicked. We've had parts of games, like we had the third quarter against UTSA. We played really well. But, we haven't put that complete game together. And so we worked a lot just on execution and sharpening up some things, communication up front on the offensive line. We shifted some guys around, looked at some different lineups. And so just, did some things to kind of tweak us, heading into the second half of the year. I think defensively, got back to some stuff that kind of we hang our hat on with physicality, worked a lot on tackling, did some live work because, the best way to learn how to tackle is to tackle. And you don't get to do that in season too often. So, worked a lot on just being physical, setting the edge because it's going to be very important this week against Army with, a lot of the perimeter stuff. And so just kind of got back to some fundamental stuff defensively.
Yeah, and when you look at what's coming up here on the schedule, like you mentioned, Army and Navy also on the schedule in a bye week, is this where you not necessarily look ahead, but as a head coach, do you look at the rest of those teams on your schedule inside of the American and kind of take that, Friday and Saturday and maybe watch the games a little bit closer for who's coming down the pipe?
Well, yeah, it was. I enjoy watching college football, so I really enjoyed Saturday. I did what I had to do around the house Saturday morning, but then once Army and UAB kicked off at 12, I had a game on the rest of the day, and so I enjoyed that. So it was good to be able to see some of our conference teams play, and then some of the other big games around the country last weekend. But we really focused a lot on Army last week. Some of our support staff did some advanced scouting on the other teams that we have coming up. But our on the field staff and our team, we had to focus on Army because this is such a different animal than everybody else. And Army and Navy, it's not not like they're both running the triple option. This offense that Army is running is different than any of the option teams we've faced in the past because of the quarterback and his ability to run the football. They run him more than most option teams run the quarterback. He's carrying it 20 to 25 times a game. And he may be leading the conference in rushing. I think he is, but he's averaging about 123 yards per game rushing. So he's a load, and he is a physical runner, and so we've got to really do a great job trying to keep him under wraps.
When we look at the greater scope of the conference in the American, 8 teams inside of the American Athletic at this point have at least one victory, including your team, ECU, as you mentioned, are 1-1. There are 5 teams that are undefeated in the conference, that being Army, Navy, North Texas, Tulane, and Charlotte, and 6 teams that are looking for their first victory. What can you say about the conference as it stands here right now, as far as how the competition has played within the conference?
Well, I mean, I think that you can say about the conference a lot about what you can say about college football as a whole. And there's never been more parity top to bottom nationally than there is now because of the transfer stuff, because of the NIL. It's any given week. I mean, you look at Vanderbilt. Okay, Vanderbilt lost to Georgia State,
Yeah.
who lost to ODU, who we beat, and yet they're probably the hottest team in the country right now after back-to-back wins over Alabama and Kentucky. Where they were huge underdogs in both games. I think it is a week-to-week deal where you can't say, well, this team's going to do this or this team's going to do that. I think everybody's got a shot for the most part each week. And I think you can say the same thing throughout the American. You know, who would have had Army and Navy, leading the conference preseason? I mean, we all thought coaching's side, we thought that they would both be highly competitive, but who had them being undefeated at mid-year? So I just think there's a lot of parity, and there's a lot of, each week, who's going to be hot, who's going to be healthy, who's got, kind of the guys gelling, like with us on offense. At some point this year, all these new guys on offense, they're going to gel and put it together. And we start clicking, we're going to have the ability to put up some points. When does that happen? Does that happen this week? Well, if it happens this week, then, it's going to be one heck of a Saturday for us. So I think you're seeing a lot of that stuff nationally and within our conference.
And you're talking about scoring on the offensive side. We've seen a couple quarterbacks under center for you. What does that look like as you head into the Army game?
Well, the biggest positive is they're both healthy. And they both dealt with some stuff during the first half of the season, but they're both healthy. They both have ability. They both have confidence, and our players have confidence in both of them. So, it's going to be, who gives us the best chance to win on Saturday based on the week of practice this week. But both of them had a good start to the week Sunday afternoon with the way they practiced during that session.
Before I let you go, here with Mike Houston in this edition of Pirates on Call on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with the ECU Pirates football program. Coach, of these first 6 games, your biggest positive, the thing that you reflect upon, take a step back and say, thank God for that. And then conversely, not a negative, but an area where you have really put a lot of energy into saying, we need to boost this up.
Well, I think the biggest positive has probably been our special teams play. We've been, really solid in all areas throughout the first half of the season. Had a kickoff return for a touchdown last time out. Have had multiple returns across the 50. Our punting unit, I think we're maybe second nationally in net punting yardage. We had a field goal kicker that got injured, and then his backup came in and has been perfect. Since he's came on board. So I think we've done a lot of really good things in the special teams area throughout the first half of the season. um, you know, areas that we, really spent a lot of time focusing. I've kind of mentioned both of them last week, but it's, getting back to our fundamentals with run defense and how we're going to play on that side of the football. That was something that kind of hung our hat on. And then, we've gotten a couple of games we've not played as well on that side as we want to or can, and then offensively, it's this all comes down to the execution. The execution is going to allow you to extend drives. The execution is going to allow you to play better in the red zone, put more points up, and if you're going to run this offense, you got to do those two things.
Final note for you, coach. What makes you believe that in this 3-3 start that this team can finish strong and put themselves in a position to rise in the ranks of this conference and still have an opportunity to vie to play in the championship?
I think two things. One, I know the talent that we have, but more importantly than that is the character that we have. I am blessed to have outstanding young men, and I'm proud of the kind of individuals they are and the way they operate. And because of that character and their drive to be great, it gives us a shot every week. And we're going to take these games one game at a time, and the goal is to figure out some way to go 1-0 this week, and that's it. And we if we can have that mindset going into the second half of the season, stick together, play our tails off, then we'll see how everything settles when everything's done at the end.
Well, I can say this, and hopefully you already know this, but have a lot of respect for you. You've told me more than once how much you care about the character of the kids that are in your program, not just their talent. So thank you for being the leader that you are, and thank you for the work that you do. And I always appreciate the time and just the man behind the music, so to speak. So I appreciate that, Mike.
I appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Good catching up with you.
And you too, as always.